expect this to start in the next 2 minutes or so?
Yeah, they're walking across the street now. Let's say probably within the next 3 or 4 minutes we'll get started.
You guys can have a little fire or something right there.
We had a big fire in there.
And it would be legal?
Campfires are not illegal.
Not legal. Cooking fires have allowances.
Gotcha.
Well,
I can get some marshmallows and chocolate.
I got fire and I got hot dogs.
Graham crackers.
Sure, like that. Cooking fires have allowances. The same fire without a door number.
But there are no allowances for fireworks.
Yep.
Very good statement.
The first person talks. Yep.
Okay, so first I'll bring up the Montgomery County Fire Rescue Chief, Scott Goldstein, and the others are who I told you are here. The Chief.
Yep.
Good evening. Thank you for coming and wanted to provide an update as to what we did on site here today. We continued operations working to clear the floor to the slab of the apartment of Focus. That was completed midday. Throughout the day we had canine operations on site. Today those canine operations were limited to an accelerant detection canine. There were no HRD dogs or live fine dogs. There was only an accelerant detection canine on site. That canine did provide us alerts to items that were found in the debris of the building. As our operations wrapped up around 1 o'clock in and around the building, you then saw about 2 o'clock we had residents back to the building. We coordinated with Health and Human Services and residents to come to the building with fire rescue support, escort, to get in, get critical belongings out of their structures, and that was done. I'm going to turn it over to Chief Jones for his information, and I'll be back with some more.
So good afternoon, Chief Marcus Jones, Montgomery County Police. This today, as I noted yesterday, we had taken the deceased individual that was retrieved from the scene to the Baltimore Office of the Medical Examiner's Office. The Medical Examiner's Office notified us today that they have positively identified the subject who was brought to them. The subject is identified as Juan Pablo Marshall Quizon. Again, his name is Juan Pablo Marshall, common spelling Marshall. Last name is spelled Quizon. He is a 36-year-old male. The medical examiner also notified us that the manner of death ruling in this case is suicide. The cause of death is smoke inhalation and thermal injuries. Thermal injuries, which means burns. We also have verified that Mr. Quizon was the owner of 826 Quince Orchard Boulevard, unit number 102. There's further witness statements and evidence that also support the ruling of suicide in this particular case. We've spoken to several individuals who are close to Mr. Quizon, and we know for a fact that he made statements that were indicative of intentions of suicide. We also want to note that there was a missing persons report that was reported to Montgomery County Police at approximately 11:30 on this past Wednesday for Mr. Quizon. The missing persons report did not list this address as the address where Mr. Quizon was was missing from. Further investigation revealed that those who reported Mr. Quizon and other individuals did not know that Mr. Quizon owned this apartment, this condominium at this location. They had no knowledge that Mr. Quizon was the owner of this condominium apartment. Through land records, we've also determined that he purchased this property just recently, I believe in August of this year. Our detectives continue to gather additional information. We continue to work with members of the Fire Marshal's office for further determinations in regards to this case. What I will state at this moment in time, we have no information to believe that Mr. Quizon intended for other individuals to be injured or harmed in this particular incident. But I will state, as I noted yesterday, as this being a probable criminal investigation, it is a criminal investigation for the fact that if Mr. Quizon was still with us, still living, that he would have been criminally culpable in this case due to the fact that several individuals are injured and the amount of property damage as a result thereof.
Can you, I don't know if it's a theory or what kind of evidence you have, do you believe that Mr. Quizon opened the gas on his stove, or that's what touched off the explosion, or how do you believe this happened?
So at this point in time, I'm really going to go back to my fire rescue partners. They have more information generally about how the structures, how that actually occurred. So I'm going to turn that over to Chief Goldstein at this point in time.
As I stated on Wednesday, an objective in an event like this is to retrieve all of the gas appliances throughout the structure. We did retrieve the gas appliances. We have obtained that from apartment 102. That has been reviewed by the ATF specialists that were here, as well as our investigators. Information for that is still being reviewed. Secondly, as I've reported yesterday about the meter and access by Washington Gas to the meter, we, in conjunction with Washington Gas, have obtained the flow rate and some of the data usage information on the meter. That is being processed and will be, again, part of the investigative steps going forward. We do not have enough material yet or findings to be able to say that gas was utilized in what Chief Jones is outlining.
So, Chief, Mr. Quizon had another residence in Montgomery County where he presumably lived with his family?
That is correct.
And he used this for?
We don't know.
And his loved ones had no idea that he had purchased this property?
That's correct.
Chief, you went and searched that property on Timbercrest Drive yesterday. What did you find?
We won't acknowledge the results of what we found as a result of any search warrants that we made as a result of the investigation. And we would just say, from a cumulative standpoint, that we were putting pieces of this puzzle together to try to determine again, what was the nature behind this particular incident. And so, again, with all of the information that we've gathered to include, most importantly, witness statements in regards to Mr. Quizon's mental status and mental well-being, this is why it draws us to this conclusion.
Can you tell a 911 call and was there a suicide?
We have some information, we have some evidence. Again, I won't go into any further details into regards to that, but we did have, again, we had the report of him being missing and that him being suicidal as a result thereof.
You said there's no information to show that he intended to hurt others. Can you elaborate on that?
No, what I'm saying is that we have nothing at this point in time to suggest that he had intentions on harming others in this act.
Chief, are you getting that from the suicide note that you found?
We're putting all of the factors together.
Was that suicide note found in his truck that you towed away?
Again, we've had, I won't say exactly where it was found, but we did locate a note.
Can you say who found the note?
I will not go into further information about who found the note.
After that?
Through investigations, this is how we located the note, through our investigation. I won't go into exactly when we found the note.
When
And
was
the
the search
missing
warrant?
persons report was 11:30 a.m. this Wednesday.
That's correct.
After the explosion.
That is correct, yes.
And was it his mother that called 911 after the explosion?
Who called to report him missing? Yes. But not related to the explosion. Let's make sure that we understand that, because again, as I noted before, no one from the family knew that he owned or resided at this particular location.
And did
Okay.
they say how long
Yes,
he
ma'am.
was missing?
Hold on for a second. Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain why members of the bomb squad were here collecting evidence and taking it away? Is that part of accelerant investigation, or was there a bomb-making material involved?
So, Fire Rescue, Fire and Explosive Investigations, FEI, that is the unit name. They are fire rescue and officials who are FBI bomb technicians. So all of my investigators working on site are fire rescue officers, county police officers, Maryland State Police, and they're a part of one of their duties is the county's bomb squad. So when you're looking at some of their identifiable clothing, it will identify bomb squad, but they are fire rescue, arson, and explosive investigators.
And so on the same
So to answer to that,
Oh, yeah.
to your second point, there is nothing that has been provided that indicates an explosive element or explosions were used.
And just so I understand, because obviously I don't understand the details, when you say that you had a dog looking for accelerant, could natural gas, be considered an accelerant used in an arson fire?
A gasoline, diesel fuel, kerosene, anything in that family of hydrocarbons can be an ignitable liquid and can be an accelerant. That's correct.
But what about gas from a stove?
No, natural gas is not a material that an accelerant dog is trained on. It's all pourable liquids that accelerant dogs are trained to.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, can we ask you, some neighbors described the person who died here as a hoarder. Any of that have to do with the explosion and the aftermath?
We have no information to that.
Can you give us a timeline of when he was reported missing, when the note was found?
So again, I won't go into when the note was found. I think I've answered that already. I will note that again, that on Wednesday at 11:30 in the morning, a call came into our police dispatch to report that he was missing.
At what point then did you all connect him?
Well, again, it took some investigative work that we had to work through, but again, I would state that we continuously worked on this from Wednesday until now.
Chief, did the department have any prior interactions with this family?
No.
Chief, can you take a question? Sure. I believe you said earlier that the accelerant dogs hit in the building earlier today.
So when we ran the accelerant dog this morning, that was on debris that had been removed during the day Thursday, debris that was on the front of the building. They alerted this morning on items in front of the building.
Do you know now what that accelerant was?
No, we do not. We take samples of what was alerted to, and that is then processed and sent to the labs. So that is going to be part of the investigative.
So going forward now, this investigation will determine whether or not this man, Mr. Quazon, who was suicidal and left a note, may have put accelerant inside his apartment and then set it on fire, which caused the explosion?
That is a part of the investigative process that fire rescue and police personnel work through.
And have you come to any conclusions at this point?
No, as Chief Jones outlined.
Do you believe, Chief, that if you, I mean, you have recovered the cooktop and stove, will you likely be able to determine if the knobs were set to on or whatever, or might that change because of the debris or whatever?
Right, so that's why we try to retrieve the appliances in the unit, any gas burning appliance, so we can see valve settings as well as, you know, configuration. That is what will be reviewed in the days and weeks to come, but it is not information we have at this time.
Chief, last question. Thank you. On Wednesday, you called it. You said when crews arrived, they found a gas-fed fire or gas-supported fire.
Yep.
So, just can you explain how a possible fire that was set using an accelerant could that shape, like, could a pipe or erupt, or could it shift the building, or how could that turn? If that wasn't started with the stove, how could it turn into a gas-fed fire?
Absolutely. So yes, on Wednesday while we were here, it was in the 10:30 roughly time frame. It was evident from the front of the building that there was a gas-fed fire. From our perspective, we can determine a gas-fed fire because you see the flames, you know, acting and flickering like a large gas fireplace is, but quite significantly, you know, gas-fed fire. And that's not connected to a portion of the building that's on fire, which was much further up towards the roof line. So that was very evident. That looked like it was in apartment T2, okay? The meter, as I identified earlier, was in a different part of the building and had no fire impingement. That's one of the things we reported on last night. So the gas-fed fire may have been initiated or may have been caused by the collapse, by the structural collapse, creating and breaking the gas supply system, which then, because of the fire, you know, became ignited. So that's that. As Shira outlined, thank you for the questions. Let me hit a bunch of other information for activities.
Can I just ask Chief Jones one more question before?
I'll run this and then we can jump back. So Shelter, Human Services, and Recovery. Board Park reception and shelter was opened on Wednesday and Thursday. It closed yesterday evening at Board Park. To this point, 47 residents have registered with Health and Human Services as being displaced. 10 of the 47 are children. Families continue to be coordinated and contacted by the county as well as the community support network in areas of mental health, food, emergency shelter, long-term planning, clothing, led by Interfaith Works, children and baby supplies, including formula and diapers, led by the Up-County Hub, and then planning with COAB, the community organizations active in disasters. Fundraising from Montgomery Housing Partnership, thank you to all those in the community. $62,000 have been donated in the last 48 hours for that fund, with a contribution by Washington Gas of a little over about $15,000. Patient update. Since I last talked to you, it was provided to me and confirmed that all 10 people that were transported to the hospital have been discharged. So the one adult male, as I provided, that was hospitalized Wednesday to Thursday was discharged on Thursday. Next steps in planning. Fire rescue operations, law enforcement operations are done on site today and are done on site for this event. This event will be secured, the site will be secured overnight by Gaithersburg City Police as a continuation since Wednesday. Tomorrow, we have invited, and communication has gone out to the other additional residents about a time to come to the community center to be able to be escorted back into the structure to be assisted in gathering items. That'll take place in the morning, and then we, fire, police, will be transitioning the building to property management during the late morning hours tomorrow. The investigators from all agencies will be working off-site for the days to come, as Chief Jones outlined. So that's the update that I had, and then you manage the point from there.
One last question.
Chief, do you have any other details about Mr. Quinones? Like, what would you call his residence? Was he a resident of Gaithersburg? Do you know what he did for a living? Do you have anything additional about him?
So the only other additional information I'll give you is the fact that he was he's also known to reside in Rockville, and that he was in the scrap metal business. That's the most information that we have about him. Again, and I'll reiterate the point that we the police had no interaction with Mr. Quiznos from that perspective. So, okay, all right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right.